My name is Caroline Sabbatini, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I will be discussing the statue of Elvis that is currently located in the Tennessee Welcome Center in downtown Memphis. This statue was built by Eric Parks in 1980 and was originally placed on Beale Street. The statue currently on Beale Street is not the original Elvis statue. In 1980, the first bronze statue of Elvis was revealed on Beale Street but ended up being too delicate to be exposed 24 hours a day. However, it wasn't the weather that posed a threat to this statue. Crazed fans couldn't help themselves from ripping guitar strings and tassels from the statue as keepsakes. The original statue was officially taken from Beale Street in 1994 and put on display at the Tennessee Welcome Center. The first statue was replaced with the current bronze statue in 1997. The second statue was not an exact replica but shows Elvis in an earlier style that didn't include tassels that could be ripped off. The original statue was commissioned by the Memphis Development Foundation as a tribute to Elvis after his death. I find the original statue to be very idealistic. Elvis's face is perfectly symmetrical, his pants precisely pleated, not a single stray hair, and his chest proudly protruding in confidence. However, most of his fans would see the statue as 100% realistic because, honestly, when did Elvis not exemplify the perfect standard of male beauty? When first looking at this piece of artwork, my eyes were immediately directed towards the belt buckle. The buckle is a point of emphasis because the gold inlay creates a color contrast from the original bronze of the statue. There are also gold pieces on his pants and the bottom of his sleeve. This emphasis is used to accentuate Elvis's love of style and flair. He always wore incredible one-of-a-kind outfits that were never to be forgotten by his fans. The oversized collar was also a trademark of his, which in this statue draws attention to his perfectly balanced face. The element of texture is the most noticeable part of this statue. The tassels on his shirt are very realistic, the reason his fans would steal them as keepsakes. Although no longer there, the strings on his guitar were also very lifelike. These were also broken off by fans, which resulted in the removal of the statue from the Elvis Presley Plaza into the Welcome Center. The way his clothes fall on his body is very realistic, even down to the wrinkles and pleats in his pants. I would put this statue under the biography methodology, even though it was not an interpretation of the artist's life. The Elvis statue was commissioned right after his death as a way to pay tribute to his life and influence over the nation. This piece of art was undeniably a representation of Elvis's personality and style. Not only does it show his bold fashion sense, but also his unflinching confidence. He is also shown with his most defining feature, the glorified sideburns. As usual, during his lifetime, Elvis is captured with a guitar in hand. This represents his iconic career as a musician, not only in Memphis, but across the country and internationally. As the king of rock and roll, Parks set out to make the memory of Elvis just as charismatic and captivating as the real thing. His personality beams through his facial expression, and you can almost hear him saying, thank you very much." Parks hit all the highlights of Elvis's life, just as a biography would do. The time period and subject matter of this sculpture place it in the pop art movement of the United States. Artwork from this movement ranges from realistic screen prints to abstract paintings and many more. Elvis was a big theme during this movement considering it was his height of fame and his death. Andy Warhol was one artist who implemented Elvis's pop image into his work through his silkscreen ink on canvas, Elvis 1 and 2. Although Parks' statue of Elvis is technically grouped with this category, by no means does it fit in. Parks' statue closely imitates artwork from the ancient Greek style. Like most statues in the classical canon, Elvis has a perfect body and a peaceful yet intense look on his face. He is standing in the contrapposto position with all of his weight on his back leg. Elvis is depicted as the perfect Kuros with his symmetrical features, although they are not exaggerated. His stance replicates that of the warrior from race, in that his chest is out with confidence while in the contrapposto position. This statue also reflects the classical ancient Greek style because there are no extra supports to help make the statue sturdy. Unlike the ancient Romans, the Greeks chose beauty over durability. This was also the case for Parks, especially when it came to the finely detailed tassels and guitar strings that were broken off. The main difference between the statue of Elvis and the ancient Greek style is that Elvis is wearing clothes. Most statues of males in the classical period were nudes. However, when women were clothed, the cloth hung very naturally as Elvis's outfit does in the modern statue. I chose this statue of Elvis because I think the history behind it is very interesting. When the statue was first unveiled in the Elvis Presley Plaza on Beale Street, there were crowds of sobbing women, as well as men, I'm sure, mourning his death and celebrating his life. I also like this statue because it captures Elvis's personality. His confident stance represents how he was a great and relaxed performer who knew how to work a crowd. His outfit is the epitome of Elvis's style and flair. Although it is shown in small details, the more I studied this piece of art, the more I felt like I had personally met Elvis. I would have to say that my favorite part of the statue is Elvis's hair. The perfect swirl complemented by the intense sideburns is still to this day his famous trademark. I really enjoyed the history of downtown Memphis because it's so immersed in music. From blues to rock and roll, the soul of Memphis is music and those who created it.